Dear viewers, welcome to our channel, and we are conducting JAB CAB online classes for May and June 2021 examination also. Today I am going to discuss about the JAB legal regulatory aspects of banking memory recalled questions of December 2020 examinations. These are the memory based recollected questions from the 13th December 2020 examination. Okay. Question number 1 on the screen is Lok Adalat limit. For referring the cases to Lok Adalat, maximum we can refer 20 lakhs or less than 20 lakhs. Including 20 lakhs or less than 20 lakhs cases, we can refer the Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat was established under Legal Services Authority Act 1987. No appeal against the Lok Adalat orders, because this is the just like a compromise, consent between the borrower and the bank. That's why no appeal against the Lok Adalat orders. Only doubtful and loss accounts are going to be referred to Lok Adalat. So this is about the Lok Adalat. One question they had given, that is for referring the cases 20 lakhs and up to 20 lakhs, including 20 lakhs, below 20 lakhs, we can refer to Lok Adalat. Question number 2, DRT case studies. 4 questions they are given. 4 questions I am going to discuss under one case study. For referring the cases, what is the limit of loan outstanding? 20 lakhs and above NP accounts are going to, minimum outstanding limit is 20 lakhs and above, and the account must be in NPA and the document must be within the limitation. This is the limit for referring of cases to DRT. With the DRT presiding officer is a qualified district judge. Eligibility for the DRT presiding officer, qualified district judge, and this DRT presiding officer is the head of the DRT, Debt Recovery Tribunal, and his tenure, appointment tenure is 5 years or up to age of attaining 65 years age. That is the tenure of this appointment. That is the question number, point number 2. Number 3, this is the very important question and very difficult question. This is the jurisdiction of filing suit. Application to the tribunal, where you will file the application under DRT. Point 1, A, the branch or any other office of the bank or financial institution is maintaining the account. So, where the account is maintained by the branch, in that you can file in that jurisdiction, or the dependent borrower or each of the dependents or the remaining borrowers, where they are more than one at the time of making application, actively and voluntarily resides, where the dependents are residing or where the residents are carries business also or personally works for gain. In these places also you can file the case. The cause of action wholly or in part arises, where the cause of action means in which branch the account turned NPA. Cause of action means here the account outstanding and turned NPA, that is the cause of action wholly or part arises. So in the following 3 places we can file the jurisdiction of filing cases, application to the tribunal we can file. This question a little bit difficult question under the DRT Act. This is question number 2. Under question number 2 case study they had asked 3 questions. Now question number 3, Consumer Protection Act jurisdiction limits. That is the Consumer Protection Act Amendment to 2019. This Consumer Protection Bill 2019 with effect from 20th July 2020 came into operation. 20th July 2020 came into operation. The District Commission can consider the cases under this complaints can be considered does not exceed 1 crore rupees. So the District Commission shall have jurisdiction to entertain complaints where the value of goods and services paid as consideration does not exceed 1 crore. So District Commission can entertain cases up to not exceeding 1 crore it can entertain. State Commission up to 10 crores. Exceeds 1 crore and not exceeding 10 crores. That is the State Commission limits jurisdiction to entertain the cases. National Commission, which have jurisdiction, consideration exceeds rupees 10 crores and above, exceeds rupees 10 crores and above cases will be entertained by the National Commission. So, in a summarized manner, District Commission up to 1 crore rupees, State Commission above 1 crore and up to 10 crores, and National Commission above 10 crores. What is the limitation period for filing cases under Consumer Protection Act? From the date of cause of action, within 2 years, the consumer has to file a case before the Consumer Protection Commissions within 2 years from the date of cause of action. Complaints under COPRA should be dealt within 3 months from the date of filing. This has to be disposed of within 3 months from the date of filing. In testing, where the complaints are related to testing of goods or services, 5 months. Maximum period allowed is 5 months. Without testing, 3 months. With testing, including testing, 5 months. This complaint has to be resolved. This is question number 3. Question number 4. This is a multiple case studies. They are given 7 to 8 questions about the mortgage. Very important topic from legal and regulatory aspect of banking. This is question number 4. All types of mortgages they are asked, and we are going to discuss. Types of mortgages. A. Equitable mortgage or mortgage by deposit of title deeds. That is equitable mortgage. In this case, under this, borrower will mere delivery of deposit of title deeds or documents in notified centers, where the notified center declared by respect to state government, with the intention to create security thereon. So, delivery or deposit of title deeds with the interest to create security toward the loan. That is the mortgage by equitable mortgage or mortgage by title deposit of title deeds. B. Simple mortgage. This is a registered mortgage. Here, simple mortgage or registered mortgage attracts stamp duty as per the document value. Number 3. C. Use fractionary mortgage. Use fractionary mortgage. Under this use fractionary mortgage, the portion of the mortgage property is delivered to the mortgagee. Though the mortgagee, the bank is, the portion of the property is under the bank. That is called mortgagee. So, the portion of the mortgage property is delivered to the mortgagee, and whatever the rents, profits we are getting from this mortgage property, the amount is going to be credited toward the borrower account of the mortgager, borrower. That is the use fractionary mortgage. C. 4. D. English mortgage. English mortgage. 2 marks they had asked English mortgage. 2 marks question on English mortgage. The mortgager, borrower, binds himself to repay the mortgage money on a certain date. So, the mortgager binds himself to repay the mortgage money on a specific certain date. Number 1. Number 2, he is transferring the mortgage property absolutely to the mortgagee, to the bank. And next point is subject to a provision, subject to a condition that the mortgagee, the bank will retransfer it to the mortgager upon payment of the mortgage money as agreed. So, under English mortgage, 3 conditions are there. One is mortgager binds himself to repay the mortgage money on a certain days. And second one is mortgager is transferring the mortgage property to the banker, mortgagee. Third one, subject to a provision that the mortgagee, bank will retransfer it to the mortgager upon payment of the mortgage money. This is called English mortgage. 2 marks there. This is a 2 marks question. In which type of mortgage where property is retransferred if loan is repaid? That question they are asked. This is English mortgage. Then the last mortgage is mortgage by conditional sale. This is also very important and very difficult. This understanding for this conditional mortgage is a little bit difficult. What is meant by conditional mortgage? Where the mortgager ostensibly or sells the mortgage property to the bank on condition that on default of payment of the mortgage money, mortgager sells the property to the bank, mortgage, on a condition that on default on payment of the mortgage money on a certain date, the sale, whatever the sale has been done by the mortgager shall become absolute, total or universally valid, that absolute sale, and on a condition that on such payment being made, the sale shall become void. Suppose party is repaying the money, the sale is going to be void. Or on a condition that on such payment being made, the buyer, means the bank, shall transfer the property to the seller. So three conditions are there. One is where the mortgager attentionally sell the mortgage property on a condition that on default on payment of the mortgage money, the sale transaction is going to be absolute, or on a condition that on such payment being made, the sale shall become void. If the borrower repaid the money to the bank, the sale is going to be void, or on condition that on such payment being made, the buyer means the banker shall transfer the property to the seller. This is about the mortgage by conditional sale. Now, question number 5, Banking Regulation Act, Section 45 ZA. Section 45 ZA deals with nomination for payment of deposits money. Nomination in deposits. Deposits nomination. This is talks about 45 ZA. Question number 6, BR Act, Section 26. Return of unclaimed deposits. Unclaimed deposits. Section 26A of the Banking Regulation Act established of DEF, Depository Education and Awareness Fund, not been any account not been operated for a period of 10 years or unclaimed by more than 10 years, the amount is going to be transferred to RBI under Depositors Education and Awareness Fund. This amount is going to be utilized for the Depositors Education and Awareness Fund. This is under Section 26A of Banking Regulation Act. One more important section, that is Banking Regulation Act 35A. 35A, that is in the public interest or the interest of banking policy, RBI can take any initiative. What are the initiative? Establishment of Banking Ombudsman, that is 35A. B, and clean note policy was also introduced under Section 35A. The validity of the check reduced from 6 months to 3 months, that is also part of Section 35A. Validity of the check, present validity of the check is 3 months. That was also as for the public interest, RBI had made that change under Section 35. This is question number 6. Question number 7, Partnership Act. 3-4 questions they had asked. 3-4 questions. So about minor as a partner in a partnership firm. About the minor partner. Minor may not be a partner in a partnership firm, but with the consent of all other partners, for the time being, he can be admitted as a partner for the benefit of partnership firm. With the consent of all other partners, minor may be admitted to the benefit of partnership firm. This question they had asked. Such minor share is liable for the acts of the firm. Minor's profit share is liable for the profit partnership firm, but minor is not personally liable for the partnership. Now, this question they had asked, what is the legal position after the minor attains majority? What is the legal position after attaining the majority? At any time within 6 months of his attaining majority, or of his attaining knowledge that he had been admitted to the benefits of the partnership firm, whichever is later, out of these two, whichever is later, the person, the minor, may give public notice to the effect whether he has elected to become a partner or not. He had to give a public notice, and if he failed to give such notice, public notice, he shall become a partner in the firm on the expiry of the said 6 months. So if he is not giving the public notice, he shall become a partner in the firm on the expiry of the said 6 months. So in the case of minor partner, he had to give a notice, public notice, within 6 months. Otherwise, he shall become a partner in the firm on the expiry of the said 6 months. That is the. Now, 8th question, partner by estoppel or partner by holding out. What is the meaning of this? This is also difficult question. If a person represents if a person represent that he is a partner of a particular firm. If a person is representing that he is a particular partner in a particular firm and some other person carried on some transaction, some outsiders carried out some transaction, believing him to be a partner in the firm. Once again, if a person represent that he is a partner of a particular firm, he is behaving that he is a partner in a particular firm, on that some other person, third party, carried on some transaction, believe him to be a partner in that firm, then he is stopped. He is that person, that partner is stopped from denying this representation letter of. So you cannot deny that I am not a partner. That is called partner by estoppel. This principle has been recognized in section 28 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932. So this is called partner by estoppel or partner by holding out. Difficult question. Ninth question, case study, 7-8 questions they had given under company's case study. Number 1, 9, sub question 1, public limited company definition. Public limited company means it is not a private company. Minimum number of shareholders, members 7. Maximum no restriction. Number of members, they can freely transfer share to others. Minimum directors 3, maximum 15, and above 15 with the approval of shareholders they can increase the directors beyond 15. No minimum paid up capital requirement for registration of public limited company. Members can transfer shares without consent of other members, and public limited company can issue prospectus to the public. This is the definition for public limited company. 9, sub question 2, additional director tenure. What is the period of additional director tenure? The additional director can hold office only up to the next AGM, next annual general meeting. So up to the next AGM, the additional director appointed by the board of directors, he can hold office next AGM. 9, sub question 3, one person can act as director in how many companies? 2 marks question they had asked. Maximum number of directors ship in a companies, maximum 20 companies. He can act maximum 20 companies. Out of 20 companies, public limited companies not more than 10. One person can act maximum as director in 20 companies. Out of 20, 10 not exceed 10 companies are public companies. This is about 9th companies question, third sub question 3. Fourth one, creation of charge, registration of charge. Whenever you are giving a loan to a company, that loan details, that loan particulars, the loan charge details you have to register with the Register of Companies under section 77 of the Companies Act. It is the duty of the company to register with the Register of Companies about the loan details within 30 days from its creation. Its creation means from the date of loan documentation, within 30 days they have to create the charge with the Register of Companies with the normal charges. Within first 30 days, normal charges. If the company was not created charge within the first 30 days, next further 30 days, ROC may permit registration within next 30 days by paying additional fees. By paying additional fees, ROC can accept the creation of charge. Okay. Even after first 30 and next 30 also not created, after that further 60 days by paying with the value based penalty charges, the ROC can accept the creation of charge after satisfying the reason and on payment of additional fees. So this is about the creation of charge with the Register of Companies under section 77 of the Companies Act 2013. So normally ROC creation within first 30 days with the normal charges. If not created within first 30 days, next 30 days additional fees. First 30 days not created, even next 30 days also with additional fee, the company has not created charge. After that, further 60 days the company will get with the payment of additional charges and by giving the reasons to delay. So this is about the creation of charge. Common seal. Usage of common sale is not mandatory as of now. Usage of common sale is not mandatory. If they want to use the common sale, this has to be mentioned in the Board of Directors resolution, which was duly passed by the Board of Directors, who will execute the documents and who will effects and use the common sale that mentioned in the Board of Directors resolution. Without Board of Directors resolution regarding usage of common sale, we cannot accept the common sale usage also, because this is the Companies Act 2020 amendment. Question number 10, Bankers Book Evidence Act. An order that bank officer should either produce the books of accounts or appear as a witness can be made by the court or judge with or without summoning the bank. This can be passed by the court, judge, with or without summoning the bank. The order so passed shall be served to the bank at least 3 clear working days before the same is to be obeyed. So at least it has to be served to the bank official at least 3 clear working days before the same is to be obeyed. This is about the Bankers Book Evidence Act. Under Bankers Book Evidence Act, certified copies are the prima facie evidence. Certified copies are the prima facie evidence. Question number 11. Fee payable for getting information under Right to Information Act 2005. Normally, along with application, you have to pay postal order or DD 10 rupees. 10 rupees. If the person who is applying for information, he belongs to below poverty line, he need not pay. The fee payable for fee is nil. For below poverty line people, the fees is nil. They need not pay any fees under RTA. This is question number 11. Question number 12, Public Information Officer. Under RTA Act, who is a Public Information Officer? Section 5(1) of 5 subsection 1, the Public Information Officer, officers designated, appointed by the public authorities, means public sector undertakings or Government of India undertakings, authorities in all administrative units are officers. So each and every administrative office, one Public Information Officer is appointed. That Public Information Officer has to provide the information to the under Right to Information Act. After receiving the application by the Public Information Officer, normally they have to provide the information within 30 days. If the information belongs to life and liberty, within 48 hours, the Public Information Officer has to provide the information. Question number 13, Limitation Act. 2 marks question. They had given a case study, limitation period calculation. Before knowing this, you have to know that what are the points under commutation of limitation. In computing the limitation for any suit, the date from which this period is to be reckoned shall be. The date of the document is going to be excluded. Example, demand promissory note or flow note executed on 27/4/2016. The limitation period for the demand promissory note or flow note is 3 years. So, what is the last date for filing suit as per the Limitation Act? 27/4/2019. Because date of execution you have to exclude. After that 3 years for DP note. Limitation period for DP note is 3 years. So, in this case we have taken this date, we had date of execution of the document is executed. After that 3 years. This is the point you have to remember. This is applicable to all the documents also. Number 1. Number 2, the period for the calculation of limitation period, the following things are to be excluded in calculating the limitation period. Suppose closure of courts. Suppose today the document is going to limitation is expiring, but respective courts are closed. So that automatically that is going to be extended the limitation, closure of courts. Injunction. Any court has given injunction, that period is also extended the limitation. If any borrower during that limitation period calculation temporarily had gone abroad, that period also can be excluded for the calculation of limitation period. court jurisdiction. So, if any case we had filed cases in a wrong jurisdiction, that can also extend the limitation, because from the jurisdiction they will transfer the cases with the right jurisdiction cases. So, court jurisdiction is also one of the cases. So, you have to note down these are the 4 points you have to see at the time of calculation of limitation period. Date of documentation, that you have to exclude. Closure of courts, that is automatically going to extend the limitation period. If you got any court injunction regarding that, any order about the documentation about the case, automatically that is going to extend the limitation. Borrower temporarily gone abroad during the limitation period, that period is going to be excluded for the purpose of calculation of limitation. Court jurisdiction. This is the Limitation Act. Compulsory question in principle and practice of banking, accountancy, and legal and regulatory aspect of banking, and promotion exams also. This is important. Question number 14, FEMA Act. What is the definition of current account transactions? FEMA defined the transaction into 2 categories. One is current account transactions, another one is capital account transactions. They had asked 2 questions about 2 marks question about the current account transactions. Current account transaction definition means the transaction other than capital account transactions are current account transactions. What are the examples of current account transactions? Payment due with respect to the foreign trade, means export or import related payments, any other business related payments, services, short term banking credit facilities, all will come under current account transaction. Foreign trade, exports, import, any other business related payments, services, and short term banking credit facility also current account transaction. Payment dues, interest on loans, and as income from investments. So we are paying interest on loan, that is also current account transaction. We are getting income from investments, that is also current account transaction. Remittances for living expenses of parents, spouse, children residing abroad. We are remitting payments abroad, that is also current account transactions. Expenses in connection with foreign tour, foreign travel, foreign education, foreign medical care facilities, and medical care facility of parents, spouse, children, all comes under current account transactions. Now, what is meant by capital account transaction? Here it is better to discuss capital account also. Capital account transaction, one, that alters, that changes the assets or liabilities outside in India. A person resident in India, his assets or liabilities are changing abroad, that is also capital account transaction. Or assets liabilities in India changing, altering for a resident of outside resident, means non-resident Indian, assets or liabilities changes in India, that is also capital account transactions. In one word, the capital account transactions means these transactions which are going to change, which are going to alter assets or liabilities in the respective person balance sheet. If a person residing outside India or a non-resident India who is maintaining his assets or liabilities in India, that is capital account transactions. Capital account transactions are controlled by Reserve Bank of India. Current account transactions are controlled by Minister of Finance. This is 14, very important for JIB, CIB, and for promotional exams, for all skills also. This is very important. And 15 question, last question for today's discussion. Contract, Indian Contract Act rules about a contract. Contract means there must be agreement, plus the agreement must be valid and enforceability. If you are entering into any agreement, that agreement must be enforceability as per law. That is name. If you are entering any transaction with minor, that the contract cannot be enforceable. So that's why any agreement, any contract you are agreeing, that must be enforceable as per the law. Valid contract. What is meant by valid contract? There must be a proposal, there must be a request, and the request was accepted by the other person. For the valid contract, there must be a valid consideration for the transaction. And whatever the consent is giving in this contract, that is free consent. Free consent, not the consent is giving forcibly, that is not a free consent. And capacity to contract. Any person entering into contract, he must have capacity to enter into contract. Minor, he is not having. Unsound mind, he is not having. Insolvent person, he is not having to capacity to enter into contracts. That's why any person entering, any person entering into contract, that firm, that person must have capacity to enter into contract. That is the sequence. In a contract, what are the sequence? First, offer from one person, another person acceptance the offer. For that offer, the acceptance, there must be a consultation between the consultations. After that, there must be an agreement for enforceability. Each contract must be enforceability. A valid agreement is one which creates legal binding. A valid agreement which was entered legally, it is binding on all the parties, rights and obligations of all the parties. So, whenever you are entering into a valid agreement, contract, that legally binding on all the parties connected to that agreement, that is the contract rules. This is Indian Contract Act question. So, dear viewers, these are the 15 questions I am presenting today from the recalled questions on 13th December 2020, legal and regulatory aspect of banking. And last 16th question, SARFAESI Act case study, they had also given 5 marks question. So this SARFAESI action I had already discussed and uploaded a separate video on our YouTube channel. Please check our link for this SARFAESI action. In this SARFAESI YouTube, I had discussed very clearly about the SARFAESI Act, all the details. This is about the. So please subscribe our YouTube channel for forthcoming JAB, CAB promotional exam videos. Presently, we are also conducting JAB, CAB online courses for May and June 2021 examinations. Interested members are requested to contact. Thank you very much for watching our video regularly.